Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another service with the Blerd Church of Anime. I am so happy to be here with you for another week to share some lore, wisdom, overall, hopefully inspirational based on the anime and animation. Oh, who am I? Just a little person known as Black Star. That's right, your preacher, your teacher, a cult leader, whatever you want to call me. I'm here to give us the message for the week. And boy, do I think this is going to be fun. Like, can we talk about Hazbin Hotel yet? Like, can we talk about Hazbin Hotel? Because I really want to talk about Hazbin Hotel. But before we get into that, I just hope you had a good week. I hope you stayed warm because it was chilly weather all across the US at least. And I don't know if we have any international listeners. If you do, hey there, how's things going on in your side of the world in January? Um, I had a very busy week, a very tiring week. But that's okay. Busy weeks happen. And, sometimes you're doing extra work so you can sow things that will eventually reap for you later. And I think, hope that all the work that I'm doing now will help me do something even better in the future and, reveal dividends in other ways. And I hope that is happening for you too. And if you didn't have a good week last week, because there's tons of reasons why you would not have a fantastic week last week, especially with everything that's going on in the US right now, and just things are terrifying. And a shout out to my people in Minnesota and Minneapolis, especially, who are, oh, especially the folks who are doing the hard work and out there dealing with a fascist regime. I'm just going to say it as I said. I hope you know that we're standing behind you, that we support you, and that we know that all the things you're doing, direct action on the ground, it is hard and it is terrifying. And no one takes it for granted. No one does. At least, okay, there's always some people. The internet is full of dummies, but I'm not taking it for granted. I see, and I hope this community as a whole see what you're doing and appreciates how you're working. So I do wanted to say that to start off. And if your week wasn't a great week last week, then F last week. We're moving into this week, and I see bravery, I see potential, I see maybe a little cash inflow if you need it coming in the following week, this week, starting today. With all that said, I do really want to get into Hazbin Hotel. It's been out, or at least the second season has been out for what, about 2 months, maybe 3 months now. And y'all, I love Hazbin Hotel. Since the since the pilot on YouTube, I have been following Vizzy, and I've been waiting with bated breath for Hazbin Hotel to finally get its first season on Amazon. And first season was everything. It was my I know it came out like January, was it 2023, and it was my favorite show of the year. I can't tell you how many times I rewatched first season. I like jam that soundtrack. And then for season two to come out in October of 2025, right around the holidays when I'm like trying to get all my life together. But I've gotten a chance to rewatch season two, watch all of season one and season two together, uninterrupted. And boy, I have thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts. But the thought I do really want to hone in on for today's message is about leadership. And what does it mean to be a good leader and who could be the best leaders? I'm going to give you fair warning that I'm probably going to curse this episode because anybody watching Hazbin Hotel, you need to be at a certain age where cussing isn't clearly the innuendos, all the things that are happening, the violence, the sexual stuff, the abuse, and the cursing in every song and every episode. I'm going to try and hope that, but some words going to come out in this one. And there's also a ton of spoilers. So if you have not watched Hazbin Hotel through season two, pause, go listen to an old message, come back once you've watched it, because I want this to make all this into you, and I don't want to spoil. This is such a great show. Don't spoil it for yourself. Go to Amazon Prime and watch it. You just or buy it or whatever. I think you can actually get it in physical media, which is rare these days for a lot of our animations. But for saying that, I'm going to just jump into this because I think I really want to talk about what does it mean to be a leader, because especially in season two, we saw a lot of different leaders, a lot of people saying they're leading groups of folk, a lot of people claiming leadership. And I'm not going to go over every single person. I'm going to really tailor my message down to three people as examples, three characters as examples. But I think we want to look at them and see who is actually the best leader. And I think it might not be the person you think I'm gonna say. But you know what? We're gonna do that. So like there's a and again, Hazbin Hotel has some really interesting themes. So and as a theological person, I just love the concept of heaven and hell and what's going on there. So I love talking about it. I feel like I'm having more episodes on this, but I'm gonna get down to leadership before I start going off on all my tangents and making this longer than it needs to be. All right, so let's talk about our first leader, Charlie. Actually, let me back up. Before we talk about our first leader, Charlie, just a really quick Hazbin Hotel. If you're still listening and you haven't watched it, which again, stop listening, go watch it. Hazbin Hotel is a series by Busy Pop or Vivian, who started off on YouTube. You can go watch the pilot there. It's still technically canon. And it really tells the story of Charlie Morningstar, the daughter of Lucifer and Lilith, who resides as the princess of hell, and she wants to stop this extermination of sinners in her ring of hell that are killed once a year by angel exterminators from heaven. So she thinks of this whole idea like, oh, let me find a way for like sinners to be able to redeem themselves and go to heaven. And I will do this in my happy hotel, which gets rebranded as the Hazbin Hotel. It's Charlie's way of trying to find a way to redeem sinners and get them into heaven. Do we know that's going to work? Well, we'll talk about it now. But yes, that is the whole premise. It's super interesting. I think you get all of that from the like hour long pilot on YouTube. It's also part of the overall um, universe of Hell of a Boss. So we talk a lot about that first ring of hell because there's 7 rings, and that's the sinner's ring, and that's where Lucifer, fallen angel Lucifer, kind of has his domain. And there's other 7 princes of hell, and I'm not getting into all that. That's lore for when we get into Hell of a Boss or whatever. Okay, now, so let's talk about our first leader, Charlie Morningstar. Charlie, yes, the princess of hell, the daughter of Lilith and Lucifer. Lilith is a really cool, like biblical, just love that they pulled that into this lore, to the just the canon that is this show. Charlie is our main character too. So Charlie is this hopeful, idealistic character, pretty powerful, who just really cares about the people in hell. And again, the people in hell, the people in her ring, are sinners. These are people who have been deemed to be too bad to go to heaven, so they are cursed in the afterlife of hell. Hell is not a nice place. Hell is, filled with a lot of terrible people doing terrible things, and they're making their own system of how terrible can you be, how bad can I be, kind of thing. And Charlie kind of stays out of it. Her father is, we'll get to Lucifer. Her mom has gone missing. Her mom really believed in like establishing, some structures for hell, but she has disappeared and hasn't talked to Charlie in like over a year, I want to say. But Charlie sees this extermination happening every year. She sees sinners being indiscriminately murdered by exterminator angels who come down and look creepy as hell. Like, all get out. I love how they bring the eye dropping, terrifying nature of angels into the show. And the reason they do these exterminations is because there is this idea that hell is overpopulated. Like, too many people are going to hell. There is no way for, them to have space unless they start killing some people. And because hell, the citizens of hells in the lore apparently can't kill each other. Like, there's just a lot for a soul sinner in hell to actually die. But the angels can do it with specialized weapons. We play very loose on those roles in this show, apparently. But yes, there is extermination. So Charlie, feeling for her people, wants to do something to help them. And so she tries with the Hazbin Hotel to get sinners interested in the concept of redemption, in hopes that they can change their ways, although they're dead, already in hell, and then be able to go up to heaven. This has never been done before. This is something that very optimistic and very like dreamer, change maker type of person would want to do. And I love these type of leaders, because these are people who like, I see how things currently are, but what if they could be better? They're people who are always trying to make the world better. And not for their own self-good. They're trying to make things better for other people. Charlie epitomizes someone who cares about the folk that she's supposed to lead. And that's such a good thing. But Charlie is also not a good leader. Like, let's put this on front street. I'm not on the Charlie hate train, although Charlie is not one of my favorite characters on the show. Charlie is very important I will say that 100%. I think Charlie's optimism, I think Charlie's dreams, I think Charlie's way of doing things is a centerpiece of the show, and therefore she's important. And I think people who have very deep dreams, who dream of things that can be better, who are pushing folk to be better, are extremely important. But that is not all you can have. You, in order to be a leader, need to have some other core strengths that help you get people to there. Because let's be very honest about Charlie. And this is from season one, and it was exasperated in season two. Charlie does not know what's going on. Like, point blank, period. Charlie does not understand what she's trying to do, and she does not know what is happening around her. She, one, didn't know who the radio demon was, which I think is very interesting that Badgie had to tell her when he shows up and offers help. I'll get to that later. She doesn't know what you need to do for redemption. She's really going off this like stale idea of what it means to be a good person. And when I say stale idea, it's like, kissing babies and giving money to the poor. It's like it's very like surface level, because but she grew up in hell. I don't think she really knows anything else. And that comes across in like her trying to do trust falls with the people in the hotel, and even how the way she tries to sell the hotel. They're like, no one knows if redemption can happen. And she doesn't do the work to try to figure out or to dig deeper. She's very surface level. Charlie's a little dumb, but a lot naive. Again, that is not a bad thing on her character, but it is detrimental when you're trying to lead people to a thing that has never been seen before. Even Moses needed God to show them like where to go when they're wandering for 40 years. And also, I feel a way, especially in season two, and I think a lot of people started to kind of like not like Charlie as much in season two as we see all the cracks happening, because she doesn't know what's going on in that hotel. It is Vaggie keeping that hotel up and running. I get so pissed about Angel Dust, because Angel Dust is one of my favorite characters. I just want them to end in a good place at some point, and right now it doesn't look like that, which drives me at the wall. But like in her song, The Steps to Redemption, where she's like literally dragging Angel through these things, not because she really, I mean, she does. Charlie's a kind person. She does care about Angel Dust getting redeemed and being able to get to heaven. She does believe that he can do it, but she's trying to prove a point, and and she didn't think it through, and she doesn't know enough about Angel's life to really help him with his personal development, to really help him get to the place of redeemed. She didn't understand why Sir Pinchas got redeemed. And I don't know, nobody truly does stuff heaven right now, but she doesn't dig deeper. She didn't ask those questions. And to be very frank, Husk has done more for Angel's personal development than Charlie ever has as her first person in the hotel. Because she's too busy running around and doing insane things that are not part of what is not the focus of what she should be doing. Your leader is going to be focused, and if you're going to be a caring, people-focused leader, you need to know what's happening to your people. She doesn't. Most times, she doesn't know what's going on. She has so much anxiety about actual leadership, as you can see, where she's like going to the cannibals to like help her with defense of the hotel when the extermination is going to happen, and Alan's leading the charge. But she also like just leads on vibes. Like, this is how I feel like we should be doing this today. And again, Charlie is a forward thinker, and she does so well as her pinches. And I love that things come back to her because she's the one that had to dream. But you can't just have to dream without organization or putting those things in the place of people who back you. Vaggie, I think, she trusts Vaggie, so of course she does all this stuff and she understands Charlie's dream for a lot of things. But Charlie makes me itch when she starts trying to like run the hotel and just take things out of hands. Like, we're gonna do this today, and I'm like, have you thought about it? Do we know what this is gonna do? Do you have Plan B? Because another thing is, Charlie falls for every freaking trap. She doesn't see the bigger picture of like how what she does affects people. But then she also doesn't see the details or think about the detail. It is so weird of seeing somebody who is such short-term wins versus long-term goals, but also don't know how to get the details to get the short-term wins. Like, that frustrates me of her as a leader. And yes, we want the pure-hearted, good person Charlie. I think she is a catalyst, but she is not the leader that's going to lead everybody there. I think she can bring the people together. I don't think Charlie can lead them. And I right now, I do think this show is going to get to a point because she is so powerful and because this is her dream and she's been proven right that redemption can happen, that at some point she's going to actually have to step into her leadership and she's going to have to take over some roles. I think it's going to be a lot of work for her to get there. But right now, Charlie, not the best leader. Not at all. Like, give this girl some media training. Like, she falls for every single trap, word, media, whatever that box lays out for her. And it's annoying. She did take two, even when the people around her are like, don't do it. Vaggie does such a great job of being like, babe, please don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. Just don't worry about it. Just ignore it. You tried this before and it didn't work. You're spiraling because again, Charlie does spiral about this thing. Focus on this other thing, and Charlie gets into her head and she doesn't listen to other people too. And I think again, no matter how good your intentions are, when you're not listening to the people you're claiming you're trying to help, you become some of the worst savior complexes that you ever see. And I think Charlie does a lot of maybe that's why she annoys me a lot. She reminds me of those white savior complexes of people who like, I know what's best for you. You're gonna do this thing, but don't listen to people because she doesn't listen to the people at her hotel. The people, the very sinners and souls she's trying to redeem, she doesn't always listen to them. And that irks the crap out of me. But let's talk about someone who does listen and who was kind of like the big breakout leader this season. Nobody other than Vox. Yes, the Overlord Vox, 1/3 of the V's. I love the V's. Velvet's my favorite because, of course, she's hashtag that bitch. And then there's Vox, and then there's Val. I have such feelings about Val because, again, I want Angel Dust to be okay. Um, but Vox is I can understand why there's such a huge Vox fandom. Like Vox is such a charismatic vision leader. We see this him in his human form. We see this, him as a overlord and how Vox TV head is so charismatic. And I think it's good to have charismatic leaders. He's not just charismatic though. He's not just like, get on my side, we'll do whatever. He has a plan and a goal. Like I think Vox in the song Brighter really showcases that this is an ambitious person who has plans and he's able to get people on board with his plans, and a lot of times he's saying he's going to share those things with the folk behind him. Like when he gets to the big climax of Brighter, when he's like, follow me and your futures will be brighter. Like who wants more, who wants this, I'll bring in new blood. Like he's actively expanding to, I mean, yes, it raises his level, but he believes that all ships will kind of rise when his ships rise as well. He and I know like Alistair gets on him a lot about needing the help of other people, which is Alistair's own, I think, thorn. He has to do everything alone. That is not a bad leader. A bad leader who needs like the support of people who can actually like bring folk together and like again point them towards a single goal, even that goal is, you know, overtaking heaven. It's not what we really wanted to see. Is it? Nah, but it is a goal. And it was almost achievable. Like Vox did a lot to get there. He did a lot of the planning, he did a lot of the schmoozing. He got Velvet and Val on board to get the other overlords on board, and he like actually unified heaven in a way that had not, I think, ever been done before. That is a song of a strong leader. However, Vox is an actual demagogue, like the definition of a demagogue. And in case you don't know what the definition of a demagogue is, let me tell you. A demagogue is a political leader in a democracy, although it was heaven really a democracy. Okay, you give it to me, who gains popularity by arousing the common people against elites, especially through oratory that whips up the passions of the crowds. He appeals to emotions by scapegoating out groups and exaggerating dangers to stroke fears, lying for emotional effects, or other rhetoric that tends to drown out reasoned deliberation and encourages fanatical popularity. And another thing about demagogues is that They overturn established norms of political conduct or promise or threaten to do so. Vox Populi is a whole, no, sorry, we gotta back it up, Not even Vox Populi. Bad With Us, Vox Populi, those two songs is exactly him doing this. And then promising that he's gonna overturn the way things are currently in hell by them taking over heaven and promising everyone's gonna get a piece of the pie. It's cool. Yeah. Sure they are. Because demagogues just exploit the fundamental weakness in democracy. They know that ultimate power is technically held by the people, and I think that's how Vox works. And so it is only possible for them to get higher up as they need to be by appealing to the lowest common denominator or the largest segment of the population. And because they have been oppressed by heaven, because of these exterminations, because because of what Charlie did in season one, they finally saw like, hey, we can fight back against angels. And again, they were kind of planning this in season one. When Velvet goes to the Overlord meeting and she's like, why is this angel's headless? Who knows something about it? This is the time to act. And all the other lords like, we need more information. What's going on? But Vox has been planning since the time they found that angel head. It's like they can be killed. There is a way to get people in on it. And they started work first with the Overlords. Didn't quite work with Velvet leading the charge. Love Velvet. But by the time we get to Bad With Us and he's been able to really talk through these pieces, I truly think that the plan it does come together really nicely. But again, the demagogue is trying to get elected or get to this high profile status to unravel the powers or the limits on powers. And they tend to turn democracies into dictatorships. And again, hell is not a democracy. Well, Lucifer is the king of hell, whatever. But Voss wants the power. And that's what most demagogues want. They want the power. They don't want the structure for people to be back on them. Like, again, Vox is using the overlords, and the overlord system is kind of a democracy. Like, you need, like, all overlords take over their own little pieces of her. It's like more of like a, not even a democracy. It's more scattered of a political group. But Vox is like, well, once I get to heaven, I will be strong enough to take over all of the overlords. They get me there, and then I rule. He even says that for the people who are his co-conspirators, the other V's. He is planning on ousting and getting rid of Val and Velvet. And they're just like, he's being a dick, yeah, but every time you hear Vox, it always slips out that it's about him. Because he has this insatiable need to be on top and to be worshipped and to be the top and the best. No matter how, and I think Alistair says this too in the song when they're like, verbally sparring, that like enough will never be enough. You have this bottomless pit. And a lot of demagogues, that is the truth for them. They want power for power's sake. They want to be held in esteem. They want people to look up to them. And they don't care about the people. This is like, they're not like Charlie, who generally wants people to be better and for the realm to be better. Nah, the demagogue, the Voxes believe this is better when you do what I said I do, and I get all the power, and it sucks for you, it sucks for you. But hey, I'm good, because that is how they operate. And I really love that Vizzy has actually shown us how you deal with demagogues. Like, Vox's downfall doesn't just randomly happen. It isn't like a chink in the plan. It is literally not Charlie, whose like, selflessness and hope appeals to Vox and gets them to stop, or appeals to the masses, because her plan to show them that redemption work and to put Sir Pinches in line was never going to work. I'm not gonna hold y'all down. That plan was not going to work. Was not going to snap people out of this whole we need to like rise up and get heaven deal. Nah. Only Charlie would think if they see that redemption is possible, they'll want to do it a different way, or we can just storm the gates. We're almost at the gates. Let's just storm the gates. Charlie, that wasn't going to work. And it was not from Emily or the other angels who are showing kindness and compassion, which is, again, I love that Emily leads for love. Emily's one of my other favorite characters. But she didn't have the power, and she couldn't stop Vox. And I think that episode where they show up during the rally is a very important scene. And I'm going to talk about that one a little bit later. And not even Lucifer, because, again, Lucifer exhibits everything Vox is saying that the sinners need to be against Lucifer as their king who's done nothing but let them be oppressed by the angels, calling Lucifer out as an angel when he threatens to smite Vox, even though Lucifer can't smite anybody. Like he can't deal with Vox, and like, even though because Vox knows that he's not gonna die by the hands of Lucifer, and then he can use them play it off like, oh my gosh, they come to silence me. I'm a tragic figure like you all. Oh my gosh, where have we seen this playbook before? The person that actually got rid of Vox was Alistair, as heartbreaking as that is. This was not a good guy, and you good guys don't get rid of demagogues. They're too good at whipping up the population. What Alistair did was literally trolled Vox until he self-destructed. Because Alistair knew the psychology behind what made him tick. He knew enough information. He could weaponize that to make the cracks and to pull the chinks. And really all he wanted to do was show everybody who Vox truly was. Alistair got Vox so mad that Vox self-destructed on his own. He got so angry that he literally shows the supporters that he doesn't give an F about their lives because he's willing to kill all of them just to get to Alistair because he's so mad that somebody is still talking trash about him. Like, this is crazy. And this is basically what the demagogue always want. They were willing to destroy anyone and everyone, including their own supporters, just to get what they want. And what they want, maybe it was trying to get to heaven that moment, and then what they wanted right there was to kill Alistair and everybody else can blow up with it. I'm not lit. If it takes Alistair out, I'm good. We can all die. Well, it's not for me. I'm gonna get out, but everybody else can die. And I think that level of danger is what helps snatch people out of Vox's control and the idea that he's doing this big thing to like help hell. And it's terrifying that that is the way you start a demagogue, that a lot of people have to get hurt, but a lot of the people who are backing them have to be hurt before they realize this is not the way this is supposed to work. I pause for dramatic effect there because I think there's a lot of things happening right now that some people who support this current government that we have in place in the US, some of them are starting to get hurt. And right now, some of them are still saying, well, it's not, the leader's fault and it's not MAGA's or the Republicans' fault. This is title from this, or it's going to get better. And they're deluding themselves that they don't feel pain right now because they want so badly to be right. They want so badly for other people to be hurt. And at the end, it's not going to get any better for them. Like they this person doesn't care about you. Your leader doesn't care about you. You gotta let that sink in. It sucks, but you got to. And the only way they get power is because you have given them power. That's the type of leader Vox is. And yes, even when the blip blow up happens and people see Vox and the V's for who they are, they still end up like if Vox is on the timeout right now, but the V's still the other two V's, Val and Velvet, are able to spin it and be like, hey, we helped stop the bomb. Like, yes, we're gonna keep getting people are dumb. We're gonna keep getting that cycle of things happening. But I think for the present danger we're in, you just need people to really wake up and see like they are on the chopping block too. And they gotta jump in with us now before they are actually killed. And side quests. Like, again, hell not being a democracy, really being a monarchy with Lucifer as the head. Lucifer is also a very shit leader. Like, Lucifer is not a leader. Yeah, he's the king of hell, but doesn't want to be. Is a name only. He doesn't know anything that's going on. She shares that a lot with Charlie, which is why I think Charlie doesn't know anything happening in hell either. He doesn't even like his people. He doesn't care about them. Maybe he did when he first got dropped down and he tried to establish himself, but after a while, the millennia, especially after Lilith left, he's not even rocking with them. He doesn't even like them. He's the warden of a prison who doesn't care about any pieces, the souls of humanity, whatever, of the sinners. And so he lets them do whatever. And then he also doesn't have any real power with them. He's not allowed to smite because that's his punishment. So he just revels off this idea of like, well, I'm the king of hell. I'm scary. Go away. I'm an angel. And then just lets them do whatever. And then Vox correctly points out he's a representative of the oppressive government that's been keeping hell down. He is an angel. Fallen one, yes. And you would think he would care about the people there, but he didn't. Like Charlie, he didn't care about listening to Charlie's idea. He says that more than anything, heaven never listens, so he's given up trying to fight for hell and trying to get his ideas put into place. It's moving on. And then that is a piss poor leader. Someone who's just like, I got the title, but I'm not trying to do anything for you. Yes, no wonder Voss is able to come in and then use populism to whip up the crowd and be like anti this, anti all angels, and let's go to heaven and then shut stuff down over there. Like it just opened the door so wide for that to happen. So I do blame Lucifer a lot for these things that are happening. And I think things are gonna get a lot worse for Lucifer in the next 2 seasons. I also think things are gonna get a lot worse for Charlie in the next 2 seasons. I know I said that Alistair is, the reason that they were able to defeat Vox in the end. I think Alistair's gonna end up becoming a major villain, maybe like season 4, where Charlie's gonna have to reconcile with the fact that Alistair never believed in her, was never there for her, and didn't do anything out the goodness of his heart. That it was all manipulation, and that he is truly dangerous. I have a headcanon where he may actually go after Lucifer or try to kill Luce, and Charlie's gonna have to make a decision, and she's gonna have to like get her powers together because Alistair's gonna be, and again, Alistair's doing it for his. Alistair just does it for the entertainment of it all. Like he just wants to be powerful enough that no one can fuck with him and no one can hurt him, and he can do whatever he wants when he feels like he does. He just chases being under power, and he's a chaotic evil where he does what he wants because he wants to. He's not doing it for the power. Like he's not as empty as Vox is, where he needs control over everything. He just wants to make sure no one has control over him. And I don't know, eventually I think he might come for Lucifer because that's one entity who could have some consequences to him. And then maybe come after Charlie as well. So that way there's no one who can truly hurt him in any way. And I mean, Charlie's gonna have to reconcile with that, especially since her two biggest helpers, or two of for her three biggest helpers, both Husk and Nifty, love Nifty, come to her through Alistair. Like she would not have them there if it wasn't for Alistair, for whatever reason that nephew followed Alistair, and also Husk having his soul sold to Alistair, so he has to do what he says. And Husk has, and you can't doubt that Husk and Nifty has been top tier, like A1 support for the hotel. Like Charlie didn't even realize that Alistair was missing. But she needed both Nifty and Husk to like do her plan. Like this, and yeah, I think it's gonna be very interesting by season 4 to see how she deals with Alistair and the feeling of betrayal, which she's not really betraying her because he's never been for her anyway. All right, that's my side, my whole side, a whole side quest on this. Moving on to our third and final example of a leader, I'm have to talk about Sarah. Y'all, like, don't start booing me. Like, I was not a fan of Sarah in season 1. I was like, who is this bee? Like, she got on my. I was always Team Emily. I was here for it. Especially when they say you didn't know. I know that song front and back. I sing every single part. And then, you find out that Sarah is the one who allowed these terminations to happen based on Adam's suggestions. And when they do a little thing with the fire is coming out of her eyes during the song when she's telling Emily, I wanted to save you the anguish it takes to do what was required. Like, she's like, I made a hard choice. And you know what? Those sinners had to die. Oops. It felt so callous, and I was like, yep, that goes into everything we've been seeing about angels, except for Emily, that like they're these terrible creatures in heaven, and I don't know how anyone can trust them. And then season 2 walks around, and we are on a redemption arc for Sarah. We're seeing her being so humbled, and like watching her go through these changes really first off changed my mind about her, and also like she's the reason I even want to do this particular message today, because she shows what leadership should be. And also, like, even if she made some bad decisions, she still made the best decision with the information she had at the time. So, like, walk with me on Sarah. Like, first off, she takes the opinions and the considerations of others into her decisions. She knows the buck stops with her, but she's willing to listen. So when Adam comes with this idea of extermination, and yes, we agree extermination is bad, it's terrible, blah blah blah. But let's put yourself in her shoes. You are the leader of heaven. You're doing your stuff for millennial, whatever, blah blah blah. Hell is out there. That's where all the bad people go. Cool, 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 cool. And Adam was like, yeah. So hell is overpopulated. They're getting really big for their britches. What if one day they use their superior numbers to come and overrun us? Because there's some people, how powerful people down there. Maybe they know more than Lucifer does about the overlord system and the powers that some people are gaining by stealing the souls of others. Okay, so at this time, they know all the people in hell are bad people because they couldn't get into heaven. They know they've never seen anyone be redeemed because, after you're dead, that's it. Like the whole concept of the Christian heaven and hell is that, like, you do all your stuff now, then when you die, that's it. You stay there. And I mean, that's what Hazbin Hotel is like trying to really rage against as a whole concept. Now, once you're dead, there's no more growth. So you will always be a bad person. You don't change. And so heaven needs to be kept safe. And it's okay to punish people who've already done evil. They're in a place of punishment. Cool. Why shouldn't we give them permanent deaths? And we're only doing it once a year, and it helps our numbers stay down. And then this is just to be a part of living for hell. Okay, it's not a bad idea, Adam. Go ahead and do it. And that's how I think Sarah felt with the information she had. And I mean, it's kind of like, again, hell is like a lot like the prisons we have here in America, except they have no concept of redemption or rehabilitation at all. Thank you, Charlie, for bringing that in for hell. But like most prisons, oh, they're talking about the prison system about rehabilitation. It's not. It's not, especially when you have prisons that mix a lot of different levels of crimes, misdemeanors, and major crimes that people together. So you have someone who is in there for a drug crime, whether it's possession, use, or whatever, and they're with actual murderers. Do you think they're to come out a better person? The hope is that they see those people like, I don't want to be like those people. Or because you're there for years, you have to learn how to survive. And I don't think that, anybody in heaven took into account that there is a wide array of souls with various levels of evil, however they're being judged, taken into account. Because let's take it a buck right now, right? There is levels between Alistair and most of the overlords and a Serpentius. Okay, like Serpentius wasn't a murderer. He was someone who just didn't stop a murderer when he had like the means to do so. It was inaction and cowardice that got him to hell. Alistair's actively murdering people because fun. It's just fun. Yeah, that's a wide-riding evil. So how did Serpentius, who was just like, I'm too scared to tell on a murderer who sometimes buys from me, become Serpentius, who is doing gang wars and hoping to be an overlord? Because when you get to hell, you see what the environment is. You have no hope of getting out. You adapt to your surroundings. You find the people who are powerful, and you figure out if you can become powerful, so you're not a target. Hell is only actively making people worse. And maybe that is all the reason for you should kill them and the exterminations. But now that we saw that, redemption is possible, now that Sarah has a different idea, she takes accountability for the decision she made. She doesn't blame Adam, but she's just like, I made a bad decision. And she really like learns and humbles herself about it. She takes it hard. I feel like Sarah's Confession is such a good song because she realized how narrow-minded and short-sighted she was. And of course, she didn't have this information. Of course, she wasn't listening to Lucifer, who Lucifer wouldn't say anything else. And he, just before Charlie even had this idea, but she's like, if I had known that these souls could change, I wouldn't have done that. She took a very bad decision, which wasn't bad under the context she had. And she looked at her decision. She realized the consequences of it, and she feels terrible. That's son of a good leader. Like inflicted these things on them. She learns and tries to do better. Now, Don't get me wrong, Sarah's not perfect at all. What she learns, like she comes at Sir Pinches with this sassiness and this attitude that I'm like, well, back up, bitch, a little bit. Like Sir Pinches is the best of the best boys. He's such a good boy. It's not his fault he's here. Like when that first episode 2, when he shows up and she's like, "How did you get here? How did you?" She thinks it's a whole attack, which is a fair assumption until the other major person comes in and is like, "Let the boy talk." And then when she hears him and she recognizes like what happened, she's like, "Oh shoot!" And yes, there's a couple other times where Sir Pinches shows up to talk and she gives him the stink eye because he's a reminder of her failures. But then after she gets over her defensiveness, she actually still listens. Again, taking the opinions of others into consideration. She listens to Sir Pinches, especially when they sing Live to Live, which is another amazing duet. Sir Pinches got all the best songs this season. Where she's like, where he explains to someone who doesn't know what it's like to be human and why people make these terrible decisions that put them in hell, and also why they make these decisions to like rise up against heaven, because at this point she already knows about the Vox plan and the declared war on heaven and blah blah blah. So like her worst fears are coming to light. The things she was trying to prevent, she actively pushed forward because of it. But then even when Sir Pinch is talking about, how hard it is for humans to make good decisions, she does push back on him and say, "But you did." And then she's like, "Well, how did you decide to make good decisions?" And he's able to like explain that it was Charlie that helped him realize he could make changes and that everybody's growing and learning. And it gives her the space to be like, I am still learning too. And I can still maybe not make things right, but take accountability and do some restorative justice of her own. And so that's why she allows Emily to go down there to help and to do the thing with Charlie's plan instead of just, declaring war or keeping it's a whole thing. She has a lot of options and she tries to choose the option that will be redemption for both groups, both the angels herself and for hell, even though they're actively trying to take over heaven. And I also say that episode when they show up at Vox's rally and Sarah sees, and everything Vox says is spot on to her. When he calls an oppressor, when he's like, you admitted you wanted to kill us, you're oppressing your character to kill me. Like, all of that is everything Sarah needed to hear because she needed to see the actions and the consequences of her actions. So I think she took all that to heart. And I think there's a lot of leaders who would melt down, who are like, they don't care about us, they're gonna attack us. Well, forget you. Let's go with Luke's idea. We're gonna attack them first. We're gonna shore up our defense. We're gonna do all this stuff and like not actually try to see it from the eyes of the other people because she did oppress them. She did literally sign off on murder. She did. And she takes that decision very seriously. And because of that, she's able to back down and try to look for a peaceful solution so that nobody, heaven or hell, has to be at war. And it really weighs on her, and she's still so insecure about it. But I'm so happy to see that we get a lot of insight into how Sarah does. And I think that's what a true leader is. You can make tough decisions, and you will get them wrong. But when someone shows you the damage of what you've done, being able to course correct, say, I'm sorry, not just with a gift basket, because also, like, I felt like Sir Pinches, you knew them going down there with that gift basket was not going to do nothing to make everybody mad. I feel like Sir Pinches was trolling them at this point, and when they come back, it was like, how was it, guys? Like, I mean, of course, they weren't listening to him at that moment, but really? When I'm glad Boss sold them off when they showed up with that freaking fruit basket. And yes, Emily is such a cinema role, and I know she didn't understand anything better, but Sarah, you actively killed thousands of sinners, and you're like, fruit basket sounds good, but at least she went. Because there's some people who send their delegates and, like, again, never truly face the damage they've caused. And that, I think, makes a great leader. I I have so many feelings about Hazbin Hotel this season. It's so, so good. I am actively interested to see how they do next season and where it can go. Again, I think my biggest thoughts on the future seasons is like the bill coming due for Alistair and Charlie having to deal with that. And possibly the whole idea that Lucifer can't strike down anybody and him being a target because of that as well. But I I have to say, like, this season, the leadership they've shown and the people, I think Busy is actively showing us what the US looks like right now. We have these dreamers who are trying to do these big things, but do they have people around them who can actively make these things happen? We have these demagogues that are telling you all the right things and trying to lead you into hell, but they are really in it for themselves, and that's can be on both sides of the aisle too. And then we have a Sarah who we may not trust because they made bad decisions, but when they stand up and they say, okay, I did this bad thing. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to grow. Yeah, you have every right to be mad, but that doesn't mean I also lay down and let you kill all the people in heaven or take over or, not defend the whole thing I was trying to defend in the first place, But then tries to make amends in different ways. Even willing to let Emily be in danger because that's what happens. And then we get to hear my hope. Oh, my favorite song of the season. But yeah, there's so many things. I could go on. I think I do have to do more about Hazbin Hotel, and I got to talk about the Alistair being the I don't know, being the kryptonite to a demagogue. That I feel that's a whole nother deep dive too. But if you haven't watched Hazbin Hotel and you've made it this far, I spoil a lot of stuff, but I think it's still a great ride to watch. The songs are banging. The soundtrack is amazing. Such great voice talents. Give it a try. And if you're already a Hazbin Hotel fan, like let me know. Do you agree with me about the leadership? Like did you change your mind about Sarah in this season? Would you be part of the Sinners riding with Vox? Put them all in the comments. I want to hear how you thought about this season and the leaders that showed up. Or do you want Alistair to leave you? Because I know there are some people who do, and it's not me. I love Al. Don't get me wrong. I can see the appeal, and I hate that I love Al as much as I do. But I also know he is dangerous. Dangerous. But until next time, I'll talk to you later. Bye. The Blerd Church of Anime podcast is produced by Black Star, aka Lauren Tillman, written by Lauren Tillman, and hosted by Lauren Tillman. Music created by EL47.